start off with making sure everyone can hear us and see us. If someone or multiple people don't mind replying in the chat just to make sure audio is okay.
I can hear you loud and clear, Will.
I can hear you too. Thank you very much, Tyler. And of course, in case you missed it, 2 weeks ago, Andy and I were fresh off another webinar. We announced one of our latest and greatest tools inside Nutshell, with this Nutshell SMS. If you missed that webinar, I just shared the link in the chat for this webinar. You can go ahead and watch that on our website if you are interested. Feel free to ask us any questions via our support email if you have any questions on SMS. We'll give a few more moments just to have people come in here. And while we wait, a quick joke. I know we're talking about scheduler and calendar here today, so I went on Google, even tried ChatGPT to find some really strong calendar jokes to open up this webinar. All of them came back weak.
Oh, you promised you would avoid that one. In one year and out the other.
Based upon the okay, people can hear it. I was going to say, based upon the lack of reaction, maybe the audio isn't working after all. But Shannon, I agree with you. Complete groan here. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started today. Answering everyone's first question, this webinar is recorded. So if you have to leave early or you want the ability to share this with a colleague after the fact, the recording will be emailed directly to your inbox that you signed up with. You can watch it. You can share that replay with someone else at your organization as well. Let's go ahead and get our presentation here started. And of course, today I'm Director of Marketing here at Nutshell, Will Gordon, joined by our CEO, Andy Fowler, and we are here to talk about Nutshell Scheduler. Now, Scheduler is a tool that we actually launched a little bit over a year ago, but it just got some recent upgrades in our product, and the recent way that you can access this tool just got changed as well. So what are we going to cover today in our webinar? One, what is Scheduler? What is the tool itself? What's the benefit of having this scheduling tool inside of your CRM? How do you use it? We're going to also go through a walkthrough video that we pre-recorded that's roughly 5 minutes. The video itself will also be available on our YouTube to watch after this webinar. And then how to get started, how can you access this? The chat is open throughout the webinar. If you have some questions, feel free to type them in as you have them. We might not respond to them during the webinar, but we do have a section for Q&A at the end of our webinar. Webinar in total should be around 30 minutes, might go a little bit longer just based upon how many questions we do have, but let's go ahead and get started. So Andy, first and foremost, what is Scheduler?
All right, cool. Well, yeah, so Scheduler is a way with Nutshell to collect meetings online using the availability that you have in your calendar. So if a part of your sales effort is having a meeting with someone and you want your prospects or your customers to book with you, Scheduler allows you to do that. You can share that Scheduler via a link that you might send in an email, or you can host Scheduler on a website or a landing page that is available to your prospects. It is connected to your calendar, so the times and the dates that are shared in Scheduler are based on your actual availability. So you're not going to get double booked or accidentally have 2 meetings pop up at the same time, and that's powered through Nutshell's calendar sync. And then finally, Scheduler is connected through our existing form capabilities. So if when someone is meeting with you, you also want to collect some information, there's the obvious things like their name and email address, but maybe there's something about your sales process like a budget or a particular set of product that someone is interested in. You can use a Nutshell form to collect information at the same time that scheduling occurs.
So Andy, form seems like a pretty obvious reason why we want this in the same system, but maybe some other obvious ones that aren't so obvious to us non-sales folk. Why would we want this tool directly inside your CRM rather than integrating with something like a Calendly?
Yeah. So some of the best reasons to connect a tool like Scheduler and have it directly built into the CRM is that part of the point of the CRM is recording everything that has happened to close a deal. What kind of meetings you had, when those meetings happened. So as part of the day-to-day use of Nutshell, you are recording and logging your activities. When you're using Scheduler, those activities are automatically connected, and they're even pre-assigned to the right activity type. So you might say to your team, I want you to have 15 demos per week. And this way that when you are collecting those scheduled bookings. They're automatically set to the right type. They're in the CRM ready to go. And then the second side of that, like you said, Will, with forms, is that any of those fields that you're collecting, the other bits of information about your prospects, they flow right into the record. And so there's no kind of need to connect the dots or to copy over fields of Calendly and into Nutshell, for instance.
Very cool. And next up here, we actually are going to jump into a product video, a product walkthrough that our internet marketer, Jewel, prepared for us. It's roughly 5 minutes in length. If you have questions throughout of it, now's a great time to ask them because Andy and I will be free to answer them in the chat. But for the next 5 minutes, here's a quick walkthrough. And again, this video will be available on our YouTube page. I'll find that link and share that in the chat as well. So you can subscribe to our YouTube and get future feature updates there as well. So here's Jewel without further delay.
Hi there. Whether your company hosts sales, support, or customer service meetings with your leads and customers, it's essential to have a meeting scheduling tool that's easy to use and helps you track those meetings and the decisions that are made during them. Let's discover how Scheduler revolutionizes meeting planning and tracks all of your interactions and conversations with clients right inside your CRM. Conveniently access Scheduler right from your Nutshell dashboard. First, ensure seamless scheduling by connecting your Google or Office 365 calendar. That way, Scheduler can check your availability and only allow bookings during time slots when you're free, and let you know when a scheduling conflict arises. And when someone books a meeting with you, your new appointment will automatically appear on your calendar. Now let's learn how to create a new Scheduler meeting in just a few clicks. Click the Create New Meeting button and choose between solo, co-host, or round-robin meetings based on your preferences. You can choose co-host from the drop-down menu or assign a round-robin meeting to an entire team, so Scheduler will distribute bookings between all of the members on the team based on their availability. Once you've given your meeting a name, customize your meeting details to ensure that everyone has the important information they need before their appointment. Personalize your meeting with a name, description, booking confirmation message to send invitees, duration, and location, whether it's a phone call or a virtual meeting. If you're choosing a virtual meeting, Scheduler will also generate those links for you so you can share with your invitees. On this page, you can also set up your availability so that Scheduler knows when you're accepting appointments. You can also stay organized by syncing your Nutshell activities with your meeting. This allows you to automatically log that activity type in Nutshell as soon as the meeting is concluded, and makes it easier for you to report on your team's productivity. On the Form tab, you can configure a custom form to collect all the essential information you need about your invitees before they join the meeting. Nutshell makes it a breeze to add all the form fields you need and then map them perfectly with fields in Nutshell so you can sync your data seamlessly. From here, you can add rules to create new people, companies, and leads in Nutshell for everyone who books this meeting. And then do things like automatically add them to your marketing audiences and sales pipelines or assign them a tag. From the Advanced Options tab, you can choose when to send meeting reminders to invitees. Then set up other meeting configurations, like the minimum notice needed before someone can book with you, your meeting start times, and buffer times you need to prepare before and after meetings. You can also enable the option for attendees to invite others, so that way you can keep every key stakeholder in the loop. Once you're finished setting up your meeting, make scheduling a breeze for your invitees by checking the box next to Let People Book This Meeting. This option empowers invitees to book directly with you, whether from your scheduler link or a scheduler embedded on your website. Now go ahead and preview your meeting to ensure everything is looking just right. And once you like how your meeting looks, you're ready for the bookings to start rolling in. All you have to do to start collecting appointments is to click the Share button and share your scheduler link or embed the code provided on your website. Scheduler keeps everyone flexible with automatic confirmation emails sent to participants. Invitees receive comprehensive meeting details, including canceling and rescheduling options, so they can meet with you when it's most convenient. And from your main scheduler page, you can see all your meetings in board or table form, plus see important metrics like bookings and conversion rate. So try out Scheduler for yourself to see how it simplifies the scheduling process and transforms how you meet with contacts and nurture relationships.
Making sure I unmute myself there before we jump back into our slides and moving forward. So Andy, Jewel went into a lot of detail for a lot of scheduler, probably a little bit of redundancy of what you already covered. And that video will be available, like I said, on our YouTube to watch later on if it just went too quickly or was too small to see on your screen. So very available to watch later on in the future if you're more curious. But Andy, let's take a minute to dive into some of the features that that Jewel talked about in that walkthrough video. So first is syncing with your calendar. What are the benefits here? What else should we be thinking about when syncing with our calendars?
Yeah, sounds great. So I think the first thing is, I'll mention even as Nutshell built Calendar Sync, we developed that capability far before the time that we built Scheduler. So many of our customers have already been using Nutshell Calendar Sync to automatically ingest the activities that they're having with their prospects. So that's a capability that's kind of beyond the scope of this webcast, but just to touch on it, you can connect Nutshell either using your Google Workspace account or your Office 365 account to your calendar, and then optionally create activities in Nutshell based on the activities that you are putting into, say, Outlook or Google. Now that sync is required to use Scheduler, and that's so that Scheduler knows what your availability looks like. So what Scheduler is going to do is watch your calendar and see when you are free and when you're busy, and only show you as available in times where you don't already have a meeting. And to jump ahead to some Q&A, I saw that Greg had a question about sort of how we connect to Office 365 and the security and credentialing there. Both of those integrations, Google and Office 365, we use a technology called OAuth. So you won't actually even be providing Nutshell with your credentials. You will be allowing Google or Office 365 to connect to Nutshell. You'll sort of be granting access to Nutshell, and you can always revoke that access. We never see your credentials there. So that's sort of through a trusted and brokered connection called OAuth. And that's how we connect with your calendar to show your availability.
Cool. Thanks, Andy. And now going over some of the meeting types that Jewel mentioned in the video as well. We have our solo, our co-host, and our round robin, which is our latest feature that we just launched for Nutshell. What are these meeting types? Why would an individual team want to choose between one of the three?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll maybe start with the best and the newest here. This is kind of late breaking news, but as of earlier this week, we've launched this new type of round robin hosting meeting type. But we'll start with the basics here. So a solo meeting is just a simple one-on-one meeting that you might choose to host. And if I want to say, give a link to a prospect to say, schedule some time with me, that's what we call a solo meeting. That's just one Nutshell user providing a link to the world or providing an embedded scheduler form. A co-hosted meeting is something, sometimes we internally call this a phone a friend. But for instance, you might have a team that is doing some bookings and building relationships with your customers and with your prospects. But you also want to include, say, an engineer or a product expert. Co-hosting allows a booking to be made with both the sort of primary host and then additional Nutshell users. And the only availability that's going to be shown is sort of when everyone, all of those hosts are available. So it's a helpful way of sort of including maybe a sales rep and a product expert on the same meeting. Finally, round robin, like I said, is our newest meeting type. And this is really about maximizing availability. So think about it this way. You might have a sales team of 6 or 7 people that are all pretty booked up typically. What you will do with round robin is actually say, this meeting is hosted by our entire team. And inside of Nutshell, you'll use a team to organize the folks who are going to be available for that meeting. And then anytime that anybody on that team is available, that scheduler link will show an open slot. So maybe Jared has a meeting going on, but Victoria is available. So on the published scheduler, we'll show the maximal availability for the entire team. And then when someone actually makes a booking, we will book the rep who was available there. And we'll try to do that fairly. So if actually everyone is available, then we'll sort of go round robin around the group to make sure that everyone gets a equal number of bookings. But if not, we're going to make sure that we're showing as much availability for your sales team as possible.
Thanks, Andy. And I know this is the first option you have to choose when setting up a new scheduler meeting type. Can you go through some of the other components that you want to make sure that you're doing the right way to make sure that your scheduler works the way that you want it to?
Yeah, exactly. So some pretty obvious things, you're going to provide a name and description so that someone who receives your link knows what's going on here. You're going to be able to tune the booking confirmation message, something that we see some people do here. That you might include maybe a backup plan. If the meeting doesn't connect, you might maybe include your cell phone number as a way that someone can get back in touch with you. That booking confirmation message is something that's displayed when someone books. Then we've got some controls around sort of buffers and when meetings can be scheduled. You might say that you don't want someone to sort of slam dunk a meeting on you. And if it's 3:30, you don't want a 3:05 booking to appear. That's what that buffer time, that's what that minimum notice is. Buffer time kind of works the other way. It makes sure that you have some breathing room in between your activities. The other things I'll highlight on here are location. And location is a little bit broader than just physical location. So it might be that you are accepting bookings that are actually at an office. Maybe you're an architect or an attorney and you're accepting bookings in your office. But you might also be holding your bookings via Zoom or Google Meet or Microsoft Teams. And so Nutshell integrates with all three of those sort of webcast and virtual meeting providers, so that when a booking is made, the link for Zoom, the link for Gmeet, or the link for Microsoft Teams is automatically created and attached to that booking. So that location dropdown is where you choose your conferencing software. Activity type is this is about sort of the internal accounting of those activities, and this is where I said this can be a helpful thing about integrating a scheduler with your CRM that you might not get with a product like Calendly. So you might want to measure how many sort of demos versus discovery calls your team makes. And you might have separate scheduler links for demos versus discovery calls. So then this way, when a booking is made, it's already been set to the correct activity type in Nutshell. And your team might even use Nutshell activity quotas to measure how many of your activities of a particular type you're booking. I think the rest are pretty self-explanatory here. You can set a schedule for when reminder emails are sent. And I'll also just mention you can allow your invitees to include additional attendees on their own. So in the case, say we might have here at Nutshell, Jared, a member of our sales team, might send a link out to a prospect, but it might be that a prospect also wants to bring along a colleague here. And so when someone books time with you, they could paste another email address and everyone will be invited to that same meeting.
And just to go back a slide here too, I should say that additional attendee feature is available on the solo co-host and round robin. I know solo makes it seem like it's only supposed to be one-on-one, but it's really just one person on your sales team to any number of people on the other side of that phone.
That's right. Those are about hosts. The participants or the attendees may be multiple.
Yep. And actually, I'm going to take a quick Q&A here too from Denise. Can you include a link in your email signature? Yes, this is actually what a number of our team members do, including myself. If you've ever received a non-marketing email from me, you'll notice that in my signature bar, I do have a link to schedule with me, and it links out to one of my 15-minute schedulers to schedule a call. Cool. And I know you mentioned this a couple times earlier, and Jewel mentioned it in the video as well, but I think it's important again to mention just like how powerful this connection is between scheduler, forms, and the rest of Nutshell. So specifically, can you dive into the power of using Nutshell forms when also using scheduler?
Yeah, exactly. So first, Nutshell Forms, just as a recap, Nutshell Forms is our ability to create a form, collect different inputs on it, and publish that on your website. When we develop Scheduler, what we realize is that honestly, Scheduler is almost an extension of a form. Ultimately, it's a sort of interface that you're using to capture leads or to sort of continue an existing lead through your pipeline. And so Scheduler integrates with Nutshell Forms and allows you to choose what fields you might be collecting when a meeting is booked. And I won't dive into all of the details of Nutshell Forms, but the short of it is you can collect custom fields. Maybe there is, like I said earlier, a budget or a specific kind of product interest that you want to gather information on. And Nutshell Forms also are intelligent in that If someone who fills out the form is already in your CRM, it's just going to enrich the profile of what you already know about them. Or if someone's filling it out for the first time and they're not known to your CRM, not known to Nutshell, it'll create a contact for you. So all of those kind of existing forms options are available when you use Nutshell forms inside of Scheduler.
Cool. Thanks, Andy. And to put myself into the shoes of a busy sales, success, or support person that might get a bunch of meetings booked every single day, outside of viewing it on their Google Calendar or their Office 365 calendar, what are the benefits of being able to manage and review all of those bookings inside of Nutshell?
Yeah, so this is helpful both from an individual basis and also for a management basis. So you might have a team where you want to see how many meetings they are having scheduled versus actually the demo showing up, right? So you can see reporting information on the number of meetings that were scheduled through Scheduler, and then the number that were actually logged and attended here. You'll also get notifications as those bookings are made live. Someone clicked an email that you sent, comes to your website, they fill out the form, the notification appears in Nutshell. In the same way that you might get a notification about a new lead, you'll get a notification about a new booking.
Cool. And then last but not least, before we get into how do you access Scheduler or who has access to Scheduler, just one more slide too, Andy, for you to just kind of go over just some of the benefits of being able to have this tool inside of your CRM, as opposed to paying another credit or something for something like a Calendly, one more credit card bill each month.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, one benefit, like you said, is there's fewer bills each month. It's a lower cost. And there's less work to do on the integration front of making sure that a field syncs from one system to another. But there's also really the ultimate reason for this, and what's kind of at the heart of any feature that we develop in Nutshell is why we built the product in the first place. Ease of use and simplicity and reducing friction for a sales rep. We want that workflow to be as seamless as possible. And so in this way, the number of clicks, the number of interactions that you need to make from the time that someone books time with you to the point that you actually have that meeting, you follow up to remind them to show up, and then you take the notes of what was said during that conversation, and then a lead is updated and moves to the next stage of the sales process. That can be fully automated with a Nutshell. And that's kind of what we've laid out on this slide here, right? So meetings are being added to your calendar, so you're being notified there. They're being brought into Nutshell so that they're recorded and they're on the Nutshell timelines. If you have a lead open where you say, I want this lead to move from a discovery stage to a demo completed stage when an activity is completed, that will happen automatically. And then the final kind of icing on top is the last bullet point here. If you're using Zoom specifically, you'll be able to transcribe and summarize that meeting so that what was said and the whole conversation appears inside of Nutshell. So you can really have a meeting booked, completed, recorded inside of Nutshell, and summarized for your colleagues without any manual intervention. That's really what we want every interaction with your prospects to be.
Right on, Andy. And I know Round Robin is hot off the presses, just launching yesterday or 2 days ago for our customers. But also what has recently changed is how someone can access Scheduler and the differences between Scheduler Lite and Scheduler. So can we go over how that has changed recently?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the other big news here. So Scheduler used to be available only via an add-on, so you had to pay an additional fee per month. We've updated our packages inside of Nutshell, and the good news is Scheduler is now available for Nutshell users who have a Pro plan or above. So no need to purchase anything else. If you are on Nutshell Pro, Business, or Enterprise, you have access to it today. So for our customers who are on Pro, they've got the ability to have multiple attendees. You can schedule as many meetings, as many bookings as you'd like. There's going to be a small Nutshell badge that appears on there, but the scheduler is available to you today. The only real requirement is that you set up your Google Calendar sync so that we are aware of your availability. And then for our customers on Business and Enterprise plans, that's where we layer in some more of that capability to maximize your availability with round robin scheduling. Setting up Scheduler on your own domain In this case, you might choose to say, growth.mycompany.com. That way, the links that you are sending to your prospects are sort of fully white labeled and customized for your brand. And then the Nutshell branding disappears in those as well. But again, Scheduler is available in Nutshell Pro and above today.
And then just one quick correction there, Andy, you did leave out Office 365 integration. So
yes,
as long as your calendar is synced, you're able to use Nutshell on any of those plans.
That's right. That's right.
Cool. So I think I just saw a couple chats come in here, but one from Andrew Fresh is, we currently use Calendly and would love to transition to this, but we have our Calendly link on our website to book tours of our facility around the country, where it's one click and they can pick a facility. Any plans to add this?
I think I might need a little more information on sort of what those different links might contain. It might be that you might have a couple of different Nutshell scheduler links. And that's something we didn't really cover here, is that when you define a meeting in Scheduler, you're defining things like what type it is, how long it is, but you can have multiple meeting types. So you might have a Dallas meeting type, and you might have a Fort Worth meeting type. And that might have different sets of things on, who is hosting that. So depending how you're separating those facilities, that might be one way to approach that question. But also happy to follow up. I know Will's going to share some contact information after the fact, but Andy@nutshell.com or a chat with our support team can offer some more specifics on that.
And Andrew, thank you for sharing the link there too. I already have it pulled up in my browser so we can look at it later as well. Andy, I did have one question here. Actually, I had two questions, as we might get more in the chat here. One is, Scheduler used to be available via add-on. That add-on was called Revenue Booster. We've recently stopped selling that add-on and moved Scheduler into these two plans. If anybody on the call or watching this later still has that Revenue Booster subscription as a legacy subscription, what does that mean for their access and usage of Scheduler?
Yep. So we'll continue to support that add-on. So if someone has purchased that in the past, they'll be able to continue to keep that subscription and have full Scheduler access, including to things like round robin, custom domains, all of the sort of complete Scheduler capabilities there. But for new customers going forward, those are available in business and above.
Perfect. And then my second question is, I was trying to educate myself more in Scheduler to prepare for this webinar. I was actually trying to take a picture of my own Scheduler, which I think is included on a previous slide. And I was showing this month's worth of availability. And I realized that Thanksgiving, which here in the US we do have off, and it was still showing that I was available. So if I shared my Scheduler, someone was able to book directly on my calendar there, which led me to ask two questions. Like, does it pay attention to some of like those, like in Google, when you can add the holidays in? And then also, I know Google Calendar has this, Office 365 probably has it too, but you have the ability to set your own individual work hours. So if you're someone that is strictly like, hey, I work from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and time after that and before that's reserved for myself and my family, does Scheduler pay attention to those kind of limitations of like the holiday calendar and the proposed work hours that you have in your calendar settings?
Yeah, so good question. I'll take the second one first. So in Google Calendar, you can say, okay, on Mondays, I work from 8 to 5, and Fridays, I work from 9 to 3. Nutshell doesn't follow those settings in Google or the equivalent in Outlook. When you set up your Scheduler link, you will choose your availability, your working hours inside of Scheduler specifically. So we're exploring whether we want to allow our customers to kind of move that out of the Scheduler UI and just follow what you're doing in Google. But at the moment, you will configure the start of your day and the end of your day in your Scheduler link when you define your availability. And what you might choose to do there, maybe you want to publish a link where you are accepting meetings on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, but you don't want to do that on Thursday and Fridays, but maybe your workplace colleagues can still book time with you. So all of that kind of time of day availability is currently controlled by your Scheduler settings. And to your question on holidays, currently we don't have any notion of holidays baked into Scheduler. And this is a little bit of the nitty gritty, but we're on a webcast. We can go into the nitty gritty. An all day activity, is typically marked in your calendar as you're still available. But if you look at your calendar and like sort of the details of your various events inside of a calendar, there's an option where where the event says show me as busy or show me as free, because maybe you'll set aside a block in the afternoon where, okay, from 1 to 3 I am heads down and I am busy. But you might also say, well, from noon to 1 I am eating lunch, but show me as available in case someone wants to book with me. Nutshell will follow that little drop down in your synced activities of whether you are busy or whether you are free. So it looks to see at your calendar what events you have, and then if there's an event on there, it looks to see if within that event whether you should still be listed as available or free. So in the case of a holiday, what you'll want to do is set aside an event and mark yourself as unavailable. Nutshell will follow that event on your calendar and see that, yep, I'm not working on Thanksgiving, and it will show you as unavailable in your scheduler.
Perfect. Yeah. Please try not to schedule any meetings with me next Thursday, Andy. Well, awesome. I don't see any other questions coming through here, but just 2 more quick slides just before we do head off. Just a reminder, we do have our support-led webcast every single month, the 4th Wednesday at noon Eastern. This is a great webcast if you've just started with Nutshell or you've been working with Nutshell for years. It's a great refresher, just going over some of the foundational features of Nutshell, just to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. Andy shared something internally with the team that we've updated our app over 1,500 times, I think, in the last 2 years. So a lot of micro changes or bigger changes like scheduler and scheduler round robin have happened. So if you're not paying super close attention like we are internally, there might be some foundational updates that you might have missed. This is a great opportunity to learn more about them. It's once a month, they go through rotating topics just to make sure you're getting the most out of them. And if you have some specific questions about them, our support team can then kind of dive in and show you exactly how to do that. Rather than like talk to our support via chat, you can actually get shown how to do that on the webinar itself. The presentation will be available for download on our website, and also the link to sign up for this monthly webinar is available on our website as well. And then last but not least, just going over some recent releases within the product. We have our marketing dashboard that just rolled out. SMS, the ability for sales team members to send one-on-one text messages to customers or leads, just launched as well. Marketing email templates to make creating new emails, both broadcast newsletters and drip sequences, a little bit faster. Login activity in Nutshell with Zapier. And then also custom domains. And upcoming and some exciting releases is we have our web chat, our Nutshell chat, coming out in just a few weeks. Pay attention, we're going to have a webinar sometime in early to mid-December to go over what our web chat will include. And then also click-to-call AI transcription and summarization. So Andy was talking about being able to summarize that Zoom meeting without having to lift a finger. Same thing can happen with the AI call transcriptions as well, coming soon to some of our Nutshell plans here. So without that, thank you for everybody coming out to attend and learn more about Scheduler. Andy, thanks for co-hosting with me today. Until next time, everybody, happy nutshelling.
Happy nutshelling. We'll see you all.